I want to be kind of going like that.
Please don't do that with my revolver.
Hello, my name's Danny Wallace.
I'm 28 years old and I live in Bow, East London. Well, kind of. You see, a little over 6 months ago, I decided to start my very own country. Already, I had my territory.
Have you done many flats?
None.
I'm just leaving that for Tony.
I'd written a Declaration of Independence and a national anthem. What's more, the number of people applying for citizenship was growing daily.
Got all hundreds.
In fact, my recruitment campaign had been so successful, I'd overtaken the Vatican and was no longer the smallest country in the world.
You call him Your Royal Highness already, which is good, which is great.
As leader, I decided it was time to hold my first official meeting. I knew this would be an important step. I sent out an email inviting people to meet me at the one place where all of Britain's major decisions are made. The pub.
Sorry.
I was a little nervous. I didn't really know what to expect.
Hello. Hi, how's it going? I'm Danny, and I think you're my new citizens.
Turns out, they had a lot of questions for me.
Has the country got a name yet?
How many public holidays will there be?
The problem was, I didn't have any answers.
Have we got jobs?
What about extradition treaties?
What about what?
It was evident that pretty much everyone else in the room was more qualified to lead a country than I was.
Got a constitution?
No.
Have you got anything sorted?
Not really. Last question before I go home and kill myself.
If I was going to retain their respect as leader, I needed to let my citizens know what they could expect from me.
But please don't worry, it's going to
There was a lot more work to be done. I started to think about what makes a good leader, and a bad one. I went to see a man so incensed by Britain's involvement in the war in Iraq that he gave up his life to camp outside Westminster in protest.
I'm Brian, who are you?
Danny.
Brian Hall has been here every day and night for over 4 years.
These are kind of...
This is what I would show Tony. Have you seen this, Tony Blair? Have you seen this?
No.
This is what we've done to other people's babies. Well done, Bush and Blair. To save a people from a little murderer, Saddam Hussein. We armed him, we supplied him. Isn't it sick? When are we going to get our leaders giving their lives? They're sending other people to do the killing and being killed. That's what they're doing.
Brian clearly felt let down by the people who represent him. I wanted to make sure none of my citizens ever felt the same way about my leadership. If I was to stand any chance of succeeding, I needed to get advice from my colleagues.
I'm just wondering about the Queen's diary.
Queen's diary?
Yeah. I'm just trying to get in touch with some royals.
Just when I thought my chances of bagging a royal had gone...
Perfect!
I cracked it. I'd managed to convince a prince to meet me. His name was Prince Giorgio, and he was in charge of a tiny sovereign nation in the heart of Italy.
Wow. See, already I'm a little bit annoyed because Seborga is a lot prettier than my country. That's not a bad view. This is nice. This is I like this. It's a good view. I mean, my country's got a nice view. You can see Canary Wharf and stuff like that, but this is proper. Flags, that's nice. This is what I should be doing. They're doing it properly, I'll give them that. So I'm going to meet the prince. I was actually expecting them to be here. You know, it's a state visit, technically. But it's just me. I got the right day, haven't I?
Slightly disappointed with the lack of pomp and ceremony, I started to explore the tiny principality.
Hello.
How's it?
I'm a king. Not interested. Io sono un re.
Sì?
Yeah.
Vestito da carabiniere?
Yep. Definitely.
The locals seemed unimpressed. So I headed back to the car park to see whether my welcoming party had shown up.
Hiya.
They had. It was Mark, the translator.
How are you?
On the way to the palace, Mark told me that Seborga was first recognised as an independent state around 1,000 years ago.
This is Via della Zecca, which means Road of the Mint. And this was the actual mint where they made the money, the Luiginis.
Today's Italian government believe that the village was sold to them in the 18th century. However, a bureaucratic blunder led to Seborga's omission from the formation of the Italian Republic in 1946, which is why Seborga claims independence today.
Oops. I need to get some of these.
I can hear the prince.
I was deeply excited. Apart from the Queen Mother when I was 4, I'd never met a fellow royal.
English band, eh?
But he snubbed me.
He stormed in gracefully. And now he's just gone into the palace. What do I do?
There'd clearly been some kind of misunderstanding, and Prince Giorgio was suddenly refusing to meet with me. Fierce negotiations began to convince him to reconsider. I decided the best course of action was to just sit quietly and wait.
There's no walkabout.
Oh.
You have to do the interview here.
After half an hour, international diplomacy had paid off, and the prince agreed to meet with me.
I'd just like to say thank you for agreeing to meet with me. Can you ask what made him decide to research the principality?
Il nostro problema è creare uno Stato intelligente. Oggi in Europa succede che c'è gente intelligente e stati imbecilli.
Does he want to give any examples?
Se puoi dare qualche esempio?
In Europa.
All of Europe.
All of Europe, yeah.
Fair enough. Okay.
Oggi si fa politica negli Stati, non si pensa più a governare. Questo è il disastro che sta succedendo nel mondo. Noi dobbiamo prepararci a governare bene e fare bene uno Stato.
It was going well, so I asked him for his advice on how I should lead my people.
I want to ask the people for their advice on everything. Mm-hmm. You know, make a very, very democratic democracy.
Se ogni popolo avesse la fortuna di potersi autogovernare, il mondo andrebbe molto meglio.
Have there been any mistakes along the way? Has he learned kind of any lessons about leadership?
È fondamentale riconoscere quando uno sbaglia, perché tutti possiamo sbagliare, ma dice scusate, ho sbagliato, rifacciamolo in maniera diversa. Ma se uno invece va avanti sull'errore diventa grave.
Mm-hmm. So it seems like humility and honesty is what people look for in a leader. Would that be right?
Sì, è fondamentale.
Yeah, that's it.
I liked Prince Giorgio, and I left Seborga having learnt a valuable lesson. A good leader should be prepared to admit mistakes and always tell the truth. When I got home, I got a package.
I've got a package.
From Norway.
From Norway.
I'd been sent a video by a man I'd made contact with on the internet. His name was Viceroy Morten Holmefjord, and he was leader of the Kingdom of Fusa. Fusa is an independent micronation that Morten established in a former area of Norway. As luck would have it, he was flying to the UK on business and offered me 10 minutes of his lunch hour.
The day of your coronation must have been quite a special day.
Yes, it was a coronation first and then the signing of the treaty with the mayor, and then a party and then another party.
That's about right, a couple of parties.
Yeah, a couple of parties, yeah.
A treaty in the middle.
Some dynamite and salutes and so forth. But
you had dynamite?
Yeah, a lot of dynamite.
A lot of dynamite?
I love dynamite.
You do? That's great. I mean, maybe I should blow some stuff up.
Yeah.
I like what you did. You know, you got the mayor involved. You know, the kind of the chief of police. Mm-hmm. Was he there?
Yes.
My country is quite near the local police station.
Oh.
So I might pop round there later on with a letter.
They have nice uniforms.
Lovely.
Oh.
Lovely uniforms.
If I learnt only one thing from Viceroy Holmefjord, it was the importance of looking the part. So I made contact with the posh tailors in Savile Row, who specialise in making uniforms for other fancy royals.
You're
Graham Noyes.
I'm
You're
Danny.
Danny? Yeah.
Yes. How are you?
Yeah, pleased to meet you.
Right.
I was expecting someone a little more regal looking.
A little more regal
Yeah.
than this? Well, that's kind of my problem, you see, because I am, I'm a king, as I explained. I want to inspire people, and when I walk in, I want them to see my nobility and my right to rule, whereas what's happening at the moment is I'm walking into places and people are going, brilliant, we appeared to have a king who was in the Proclaimers.
Exactly. So we better do something about that.
Yeah. Aha.
Right.
Oh, this is, I'm kind of, yes.
Now, these are a few ideas.
Things on shoulders are always good.
Yeah, now
Medals.
I brought these through.
Oh, yeah.
Chainmail.
Excellent.
I think that would be something, a talking point for you, perhaps.
Absolutely.
What you do have on here is embroidery on the cuffs, a bit of colour. I think embroidery may be going a bit over the top.
It's a bit Graham Norton.
Yeah, so perhaps just some gold lace around the collar, but make it fairly elaborate, so you're going to stand out.
Medals.
Medals, you've got medals, have you?
I haven't got any yet. I was just hoping that maybe we could knock something up, a bit of bright ribbon or...
Yeah, no, that's
I invaded Eel Pie Island with a friend of mine.
Well, that can be your first one, the invasion of Eel Pie Island medal. OK.
Fantastic.
Do you want to come through to the fitting room?
Yeah. Can you make like a King's Parker?
I don't really think it's our sort of cup of tea, but something we can discuss for the future, perhaps.
Hello, Danny. Nice to meet you. It's quite a high waist. Is Simon Cowell the king?
He sure is, yeah. 6 3/8, 25.5, 43 chest.
I am puffing myself up a bit there.
It was going to take a couple of weeks to make my uniform, so I left the tailors to get on with it. When I got home, I found a fantastic email.
Dear Danny, Noam has asked me to write...
It was inviting me to Boston for an audience with the world-famous boffin Noam Chomsky. Noam is renowned for his radical thoughts on how communities and governments should work. But it was his thoughts on how I should lead my people I wanted to discuss.
I found that the people who have joined the country, they want leadership.
I mean, if the people want to be told, here's what I'm going to do for you, they're starting off on the wrong foot. They have to be encouraged to think for themselves what they want.
Well, to be fair to them, I mean, they did. They gave me quite a grilling.
Okay, that's good. And your role as a leader should be to eliminate yourself.
It should be to?
Eliminate yourself.
Maybe that could become one of my things. I could say that this country will be fully operational the day I become not king, but a citizen.
I think you get a decent society if, in fact, it doesn't rely on leaders.
So I'm just there,
It's not saying that it shouldn't select representatives.
Well, maybe I can do that. Maybe I can get some, when I decide on, when I can get some kind of representatives, where I can delegate some responsibility for specific departments.
Well, what I would suggest is instead of you delegating it, that they delegate it. It should be the task of the people involved to determine what tasks have to be undertaken. But the point is, it's all from below.
And maybe I can use the internet, for voting.
Remember, democracy isn't just voting, it's also participation and discussion and interchange.
So regular meetings would be good. Regular kind of meetings where they can ask questions.
And come up with proposals on whatever issue it is.
And we were talking about citizens having power and people, creating change from the bottom up. I want every citizen to automatically become an ambassador for the country. And I had a load of T-shirts printed up which say, ambassador, like that. But I'd like you to have the first one.
Oh, okay.
If you'll accept it. So you can be either, it's up to you, you can be Citizen Chomsky or Ambassador Noam. Cheers.
Noam had given me lots to think about, and I liked the idea that power should come from the people. I needed to find some way of letting my citizens have as much say as possible. When I got home, I enrolled in an evening class where lots of eggheads were learning how governments relate to their people.
If you look at the British Constitution...
It turns out that a constitution is the way that most countries in the world do this. After the class, I grabbed the lecturer, Debbie Che, to find out more.
What can I do to help you then?
I've been hearing a lot about constitutions, and I'm wondering whether it's something I should get involved with.
Well, pretty much every country in the world at some stage has done this and decided to draw up a written constitution.
Right.
The UK doesn't have one, but it's fairly unique in that.
The UK
doesn't have a codified document, no.
It doesn't have what?
No,
I don't understand. It hasn't
have,
got a constitution?
No. Well, it doesn't have something that you can pick up like this, which is the South African Constitution.
There's quite a lot in there, isn't there?
Yeah.
So this just sets out
Yeah, basically the rules about the people who are in government, who they are, what they do, how they relate to each other.
A constitution was just what I needed.
What do I have to do then? If I'm going to write my own constitution, where do I start?
Are you going to be the person in charge?
Yes, definitely.
Okay,
yeah.
fine.
Don't know why you asked that. Clearly.
Do you think you're going to continue to be the person in charge for the foreseeable future?
Definitely, move on.
Right. You might need to have some sort of mission statement to reassure people that this government will have their interests at heart, that it will be representative of them. Disengagement is a big problem for governments these days. That can be more damaging, I think, than a rebellion, because if they turn away, then you become irrelevant.
I don't want that.
No. How do you think you're going to impose these thoughts and beliefs and ideas?
I hope I can just trust people to live by some quite sensible rules.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not going to go mad, I'm not going to be saying everyone's got to give me their firstborn child or anything like that. It'll just be, keep your chin up, keep out of trouble, don't cross over the line, that kind of thing.
With Debbie keen to help, I grabbed a pen and set to work.
Right. What now?
What are you going to provide for them? Things that they couldn't do for themselves.
I'll watch your back.
Yeah, that will do. Are you providing anything for these citizens?
Not well. While I'm deciding what I can offer people, I could just tempt them in and just be kind of going, well, I will give you things.
Bill of Rights. You have a Bill of Rights, which actually defines your relationship between yourself and your citizens. Have you any idea what you might include in those? There's no consensus, I'm afraid. The top three tend to be right to life.
Right to life?
Very high on the list is usually freedom of expression, and then probably privacy.
Privacy?
People see privacy as being very much about their relationship with the state. In other words, they want a presumption that you, as the government, will not interfere with them without good reason. In other countries where they might be concerned about things like torture, they would put freedom from torture.
See, I'd put torture in my Bill of Wrongs. So I'd have a Bill of Rights, I'll have a Bill of Wrongs. Crime, murder, torture.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I knew I was onto something. Over the next few days, I dedicated myself entirely to getting it right.
Constitution.
On a trip into town, I did my homework and found out how others had dealt with drawing up a constitution.
Got a few books here on British Constitution and...
Turns out, Britain and Israel are the only countries that haven't bothered to write theirs down in a nice little booklet.
It's not exactly light reading.
Instead, Britain relies on a complex system of customs and conventions governed by law. Britain's first attempt at a constitution was called the Magna Carta. It might look a bit tatty, but it was the mother of all constitutions. Written in 1215, it was the first time anyone had tried to establish a pact between a king and his subjects. It's so important, it even has its own fan club, headed up by a man named Bob.
I'm Danny.
How'd you do, Danny?
Nice to meet you. How are you?
Oh, well, I'm all right.
Cool.
I met Bob Lomas at a place called Runnymede, where the Magna Carta was originally drawn up.
Now, a lot of people say that we haven't got a written constitution, but of course we have. And it is part written and part custom.
So we just kind of rely on it?
Absolutely.
Right, okay, that's interesting.
The first written document of our constitution, of course, is the Magna Carta.
Mm-hmm.
The Magna Carta is the basis of all the democratic constitutions of the world.
So that's there, why? The constitutional law, to protect people.
And you will find, as you've seen in documents such as the Bill of Rights, it says, for all time to come.
So that's non-negotiable, they're just there forever?
Absolutely, yes. Like our right to be a free and independent people.
Right.
So, if my constitution was going to last forever, I had to be very careful what I put in it.
Country code. It's in the Magna Carta. Well, I'm aiming to take a lot of my influences from Britain and from the way Britain runs.
You can't do better.
Yeah?
It's the foundation stone of the world's democracies.
So if Britain has got, the best constitution and things like that, I mean, what's it made up of? What elements will I need to incorporate into my own one?
People power.
Listen to them?
Absolutely.
Take it on board?
Absolutely.
Write it in?
Yes. Your constitution will be administered by the state, and the state will be the servant of the people whose constitution it is.
Could I not be the servant of, but maybe like the partner of? Or is it crucial that I serve?
I think it's crucial that you serve.
Right.
That you serve.
It seemed Bob agreed with Nome. The people should hold the power. And so, if my constitution was going to serve the people, then the people should have their say and help me write it. I phoned around for advice.
Being insulted by random people on the streets that you're only trying to help because you pointed out that their shoelaces were coming undone. Yeah, that's a bit specific, to be honest.
No one seemed to be taking it very seriously. And what goes into a constitution is something to take very seriously indeed. Especially in America, where they're always arguing about it. I'd arranged to meet a hardcore group battling to keep one aspect of their constitution alive, the right to bear arms.
Oh, blimey. A 500 Smith & Wesson Magnum. I can't imagine that coming in handy.
The name of the group? The SAS. I could tell from the knitwear alone that this was like no SAS I'd ever seen. These were the Second Amendment sisters, and before I met them properly, Olivia suggested I fire some guns so I could truly get to grips with the debate.
The country, that's not a gun.
It's a staple, it's more valuable.
Right. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, you need to load. You can put that right down. We'll go to the firing range.
I'd never fired a gun before, mainly because they shoot deadly bullets.
All right.
But Olivia seemed to think it was important that citizens should be armed.
Okay, pay attention to your gun.
So I did as she said.
Be balanced, be relaxed, line up your sight picture. And when you feel comfortable, go ahead and take up the slack in the trigger and slowly press it to the rear.
Here we go. Oh. Wow!
Point the muzzle in a straight direction.
Blimey.
Look at me.
I find it very hard to concentrate on that after I've shot it. I want to run away. Is that
That's
normal?
a natural response.
Is it?
Well, it's more of a response that we usually see in women, but
really?
It's something that I come across.
I'm just comfortable with my femininity.
You're just sensitive, I suppose. Much better.
Not bad, is it? Not bad.
You felt a little more comfortable that time, didn't you?
Yeah, I'm getting into the swing of this. Mm-hmm. It's also because you called me a sissy. Well, let's see how I did. So I shot 6.
Yes, bring it up.
Hey, look at that! Look at that! Look at that! Look at that!
That's yours.
Look what I did.
All right.
I was born to shoot.
You're born to be king.
Well, we all know that.
Having proved myself an expert marksman, Olivia felt it was now safe to introduce me to some more Second Amendment sisters.
You guys, you know, you're all sensible, lovely people. But there are other people out there, aren't there, who, by allowing them to have a gun, you're endangering everyone because they are nutters. There are plenty of nutters out there.
So you need to...
But in a population, 2% of any population are going to be bent toward criminal activity.
How are you going to protect the people from the crime?
Well, I think that not having guns would be a good start.
That's not going to stop crime. If somebody is intent on committing a crime, they're going to commit a crime. Yeah, but, okay, so the bad guy's going to grab a machete or an axe or a hatchet or a baseball bat or a monkey wrench.
Firearms are called the great equalizer because they can be wielded by anyone. Pregnant women, the elderly, people in wheelchairs. These are all people who would become easy prey for criminals.
And Danny, the largest growing group of gun owners in the United States is women.
Really?
Yes.
Is that just because all the men have already got one?
Hardly. And if I were able to wave a magic wand and get rid of all the guns in the world that the bad people have and that the good people have, I mean, would you want that?
No.
You wouldn't?
No.
The initial gut reaction to, oh, there's all this gun crime or crimes committed with gun, the initial reaction is, well, let's just get rid of the guns. Taking the gun away doesn't turn that criminal into a law-abiding citizen. You're trying to make the evil from the criminal into the evil of the tool. And you might as well say that airplanes cause terrorism. But we are not talking about banning airplanes. So why would we talk about banning guns? Because bad people use them in bad ways.
I guess it's always going to have a stigma, isn't there? Because guns are designed by their very nature for shooting people.
No, they're not.
Aren't they?
No.
Why were they designed?
Firearms are designed,
Why were they designed
to throw a projectile in a predictable and repeatable trajectory.
So why do we use
that's
them in war?
I think we're never going to agree on this.
Wars are not caused by weapons either.
So what are you going to do if the government says, right, we're going to have another amendment and we're going to get rid of guns?
The president can't just say, I'm going to change this, that's it, like the king does.
They messed up, didn't they? Go straight to king.
Depends. But you can't do everything.
From what perspective are you saying they messed up? From the point of your subjects, okay, well, there's the king, he's got all the power, it kind of leaves me at the whim. Your subjects are going to be like, well, great, he can rewrite everything. If you decide that all of a sudden women can't vote, there's nothing stopping you. The Constitution of the United States was written with that in mind, saying that we need checks and balances on this system. We need it to be hard to change. We need it difficult to seize power. And in the absolute worst case scenario, when there is nothing else stopping someone from grabbing the power of a king, you've got 280 million citizens with firearms. And it's kind of hard to argue with that.
It was kind of hard to argue with that. But the last thing I wanted was 280 million citizens with firearms turning up outside my flat. So, on the way home, I decided to ban all guns. I now felt ready to put the finishing touches to my constitution.
Right, this is what I've got so far, right?
I decided to run it past my friend and closest ally, John Bond.
Friday shall be a day of rest, as shall Saturday and Sunday and much of Monday morning. It is a citizen's duty always to look on the bright side, to keep all chins up, to bring squabbling to a minimum, and always to pick up after themselves. The king shall consult regularly with boffins and eggheads on matters of state. None of the above should be taken to apply any restriction on the king's power to conduct affairs solely in the light of his own incontrovertible wisdom. So basically, I can change it if I want.
Having spent so much time working up my constitution, I was falling behind processing citizen applications. I realised that if I was to be an effective leader, I should delegate some responsibility. I needed a government. I considered doing what George W. Bush did and choosing my dad's mates, but then I thought about my dad's mates and decided best not.
Right, thank you all for coming. I've asked you here.
So I used my own, hand-picked for their particular skills and abilities.
Rich.
My friend Rich can count up to 10 in 15 different languages.
Within there you'll also find your official uniform.
He was perfect for the post of Minister for Foreign Affairs.
Cool. Thank you very much.
I needed a Minister for Finance.
Nathan.
And chose Nathan, mainly because he's got his own calculator watch.
There's a few notes there and a T-shirt. Neris, you're a lady.
Neris has been a girl since she was a baby. I made her Minister for Ladies and that.
Just ladies' issues.
Ladies' issues.
She was a bit annoyed, but, you know, that's ladies for you.
Cheers. Cheers.
With the team in place and my constitution backing me up, I now felt far more confident about meeting my people again.
Hello.
Hello, King Danny. Honoured to meet you.
Imagine.
And together, we did what Noam, Debbie and Bob had suggested we do. We started to listen.
I was wondering what the views on fox hunting in your country were.
Capital punishment, do you think it's okay or do you think it's a bit mean?
Can you tell me what your pub licensing hours are going to be?
Ifall du har tänkt att skapa ett eget språk?
Ursäkta, är det svenska? Jag pratar lite svenska.
Okay.
Jag har en svenska flickvän, men lång tid sen.
That's why you're foreign affairs.
I was happy. This was working. It was no longer my country. It was our country.
Hello. How's it going? What's your name?
Mike.
Hi, Mike.
How do I become king?
You've got to teach them how to sing, and he always is the king. But just pretend we're like his other.
If you'd like to become an ambassador for my country, please visit citizensrequired.com. And if you're a digital viewer, you can press red now, where I'll be taking your questions live on Citizen TV.